Here's a way to lose a customer that has nothing to do with your product. You sell them a supplement or a serum or a hair product that takes 90 days to show results. And the default volume you put in front of them at checkout is 30 days of supply. 30 days of supply on paper is an easier conversion because it's a lower financial barrier to entry than, say, the full 90-day supply. But what happens when that customer goes through the first package and doesn't see the results? They churn. You just sold someone 1/3 of an intended trial and asked them to judge the results on it. The product runs out on day 30. The proof doesn't show up until day 90. And in that gap, the customer is standing there thinking, I finished and I'm not sure it worked. That's not a life cycle problem. That's a structurally poor offer. Hi, I'm Alex Orley, and this is Hard Margins, your weekly e-commerce brief brought to you by RetentionX. RetentionX brings all your customer, product, and marketing data into one place and shows you what actually drives profitable growth. Which customers come back, which products create better customers, which ad dollars are wasted or spent optimally. Then it acts on all of that information automatically. That means better signals to your ad platforms, smarter triggers in your email flows, and your storefront sorted by what converts. If you have questions or topics you'd like covered, reach out directly, alex@hardmargins.com. This week is about a metric I want you to calculate right after this one. I call it proof coverage. It's the relationship between how long your product actually needs to work and how much of that window the first order pays for. When these two numbers are far apart, you lose customers for no good reason, and it shows up everywhere that matters. Your repeat rates, your reviews, your LTV, your payback. So let me walk you through the timeline. A new customer lands on your PDP and they buy the default 30-day supply. They start on day 0, the product runs out on day 30. But the point where they can fairly judge whether the product worked doesn't arrive until day 90. So now you've got a 60-day stretch where the product is gone, the results have not landed, and the customer has to decide whether to keep spending on faith alone without proof. And here's what actually costs you. The customer isn't thinking, I've done 1/3 of this trial because nobody thinks in trials. They're thinking, I used this whole thing and I still don't think it did much. And by day 35, a lot of them are not likely to come back and buy again. And if you're the brand and you look at the data, what you see is weak repeat behavior, and you likely diagnose the wrong problem. Maybe the replenishment email needs work, maybe the post-purchase flow needs more education, maybe our second order incentive should be larger, or the win-back subject line needs a rewrite. All of that effort, when the real issue is that the offer itself told the customer to quit before the product had a fair shot of proving anything. So you didn't just lose a reorder, you may have created someone who now believes your product doesn't work, and that person tells other people. Okay, so here's how you put a number on this idea of proof coverage. Take the days of supply in the first order and divide it by the number of days it realistically takes to evaluate your product. In our example, that's 30 days of supply over 90 days to proof. So your proof coverage is 33%, a third. The first order covers a third of the experience the customer needs before they can actually judge the product holistically. Now, this doesn't mean you force everyone to buy 3 units. That is the wrong lesson to take from this. What it means is that your product page should be honest about what each option actually buys the customer. A single unit sitting at 33% coverage isn't a fair trial, and presenting it as one is where you're doing damage to yourself. So run this number across your catalog. Some products will look good, a few will look like traps you've set for yourself without realizing it, and those are the ones you want to fix. The first fix is to introduce a way to cover the real evaluation window, enough product to get the customer to day 90. Think of it as a starter pack. But the way you frame it matters more than the SKU itself. You don't say buy 3 units. You say something like the complete 90-day routine. Those two lines describe the exact same box of product, and customers hear them differently. Buy three sounds like you're trying to pad the cart. It sounds like it's about your average order value. Complete the 90-day routine explains why the quantity exists in the first place, because that's simply what a fair trial takes. The customer stops seeing extra inventory and starts seeing a full process, and it's the same 3 units with a very different decision for the customer. The other piece of this is that you're not promising it'll work. You're giving it enough runway to earn the verdict and the validation on its own. So the next solution is letting the starter pack carry the subscription. A lot of brands lead with subscribe and save on the PDP, and to a brand new customer, that's not always a small ask, because you're asking them to automate a relationship that hasn't been validated yet. And they might not trust the product yet, so why would they put it on repeat? The starter pack fixes the order of operations, the customer completes the proof cycle first, the product earns some validation and trust, they learn their own usage, like how fast they go through it, when they'll need more, and then subscription becomes the obvious next step instead of a leap of faith. So your mental frame moves from commit before you know if this works, or if you like it, or if your kids will like it, to keep the routine you already decided was worth it. That second version is a much easier yes. Subscription won't feel like a coupon bolted onto recurring billing, and it'll start to feel to customers like convenience after proof, which is what it should have been the whole time. The last solution is keeping the single unit, but don't pretend it's the whole thing. The single unit still has a real job to do because some people genuinely want the way in with the lowest upfront commitment. So existing customers want a quick top up on a routine they already run, or others want to test the flavor, the texture, whether their skin reacts before they go deeper, and all of that is legitimate. The mistake isn't offering a single unit, the mistake is dressing that unit up as the complete product experience. Label it honestly instead. Single unit, partial cycle, best for testing fit, or for replenishing a routine you already have. It's the highest cost per unit, may not cover the full recommended window. That kind of transparency does something useful. The customer understands this is the low-risk way to enter, but it's not the full story. The choice is still theirs. You've made the expectation a little more accurate, and accurate expectations are what stop someone from blaming the product for a trial that they cut short. So how do you take this and operationalize it? Here's 5 key moves. First, work out the real evaluation window for every outcome-dependent product you sell. Don't guess. Use your product evidence, your support tickets, and your customer research to understand when do people report it working. That number becomes the denominator for everything else. Calculate your proof coverage on every first order option you offer. Days of supply over the days to proof. Then flag any default offer that's giving customers a lot less product than the window actually needs. That flagged list should be your priority here. Third, merchandise the cycle before you show the mechanics. So explain the journey first so the customer understands why time matters and what a fair trial looks like, and then present the starter pack as the most complete way through it. If you lead with buy 3, you've already lost them. Lead with 90 days. Fourth, you want to position subscription as a continuation, not a blind commitment. Make the line from starter cycle to ongoing routine very obvious. The customer finished the trial, they know it works, and subscription just keeps it going. And fifth, measure cohort quality by first order option. This is the one I think will surprise you. So split your single unit buyers, your OTPs, from your starter pack buyers and compare them on repeat purchase rate, time to second order, contribution margin, and LTV at 90 and 180 days. My bet is the single unit wins the checkout and loses the customer. It converts better upfront and costs you more over the full life cycle. So here's where I'd leave it. You don't need to push people into buying more. You need to stop presenting 30 days of supply as if it's the full experience of a product that takes 90 days to judge. The single unit sells the promise. The complete cycle gives the product a fair chance to keep it. When your offer explains the journey first and then lays out the starter pack, the subscription, the single unit as answers to 3 genuinely different customer needs, the decision gets easier to make and more honest to sit with. You stop creating disbelievers out of people who might have become high-value customers. So calculate your proof coverage on your top 3 products. If any of them come back under 50%, you've just found your next quarter's work. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Alex Orley. This has been Hard Margins, your weekly e-commerce brief, brought to you by RetentionX. If you have questions or topics you'd like covered, reach out, alex@hardmargins.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you right here next week.